Last week, we looked at introduction to computers, what computers are, and all other basic concepts, introductory concepts. So today we are diving into deeper. We are diving deeper into the course. And to start with, we are looking at what computer can do and what it can't do. Of course, in simple terms, in summary, all it can do is to accept data as raw materials, then process it into information, and then produce the stored results. Now, what are the components of a computer, or what are the parts? So in summary, actually, let me start by asking the members, because usually I use student-centered learning, whereby I expect more from the students. So let me first turn on your microphones, then you tell me what you know about computers. I have turned on your micro. You can now unmute yourselves. Now I want the members to discuss with me what they know about the components of computers, of a computer. Yes, the platform is open. Let me start with Tamale Innocent. Tamale, can you hear me? Can you turn on your microphone and speak to us? Tamale, turn on your microphone. It's muted.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
I beg your pardon.
Okay. Can somebody, as Tamale is still processing, can somebody chip in and tell us? Okay. Let's move on. It's like maybe I don't read there. So we are starting with the components of what called the input, we have the output, and of course, when we talk about input, we're looking at those components that are used to enter, such as the keyboard, the microphone, the mouse, the scanner, etc. Then we have output such as the monitor, for example, the speakers, we can talk about the printers, the projectors, etc. Then we have, among other components, the central processing unit. Unfortunately, most of us have always thought that CPU, that box that is usually down under the table, is the CPU. But from last week's session, we were able to realize and see that the CPU is not the box. A tiny chip within the, it's just a tiny chip within the system unit. Then the motherboard, I don't know if I need to try and show each one of the components, okay? How it looks like. I think, let me try doing so that the members are able to see these components practically, virtually. So for example, you talk about in case somebody doesn't know what a motherboard is, let me look it out, motherboard. So we are waiting for it to load, just in case some people have just been hearing about the motherboard. So in other words, just like if you were to look at where we come from, we have mothers. The mother becomes the unifying factor at home for all the children. So similarly, when you look at a computer, all the components that you are connecting to the computer are actually seated on the motherboard. Just like when you look at my screen here, you will realize that on my screen, for example, if I'm to connect the USB cable, okay? If I'm to connect any component, I'm looking out for a bigger screen of a motherboard. Let me see if I can get one. Let me use, for example, when you look at where my cursor is, this is the motherboard generally. So this is a port for connecting the Ethernet cable. We have the USB. We have ports for connecting the mice. We have even the CPU is here, just like you can see. So like I told you members, some people are lost. Let me first share with them the link, then so that they're able to join us. So let's be patient a bit. Let me first share the link and then we continue. Let's be patient up to, I think, around 35 past. That's about 3 minutes from now. Shall continue as others are still joining. Okay, I think the rest will get us on the way. Since there's a recording, which they will access the recording and catch up with whichever they will have missed. So let's continue. We were looking at the components of a computer and I'd tasked each one of the members to tell us a component they know and its role on the computer. So Benjamin was speaking to us. Benjamin, can you continue?
Hello, everyone.
Benjamin, can you continue from there?
Yeah, I'm talking.
Your network is in slow motion. And your volume is so high on your gadget, it's bringing an echo, it's bringing a feedback. Are you using two gadgets, a computer and a mobile phone? Huh? Your volume is high, it's echoing back to us. When you are speaking, reduce the volume when you are speaking, then turn it on after speaking, after muting your microphone. Can you continue? Can you speak?
I'm talking about the input system.
Sorry?
The input system is responsible for putting it into the computer.
Okay, that's according to Benjamin. Yes, Eddie Moses, can you speak to us? Unmute, speak. After speaking, you mute. Eddie Moses.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
One of the components of the computer, I know the keyboard, which is an input component.
Okay.
And its function is it is used in typing or entering the information or data in the system.
Thank you very much. We have Emily Nasiwa Nachimera. Emily, can you speak to us? There is somebody using Galaxy S8. Please rename yourself and you are the next to speak. Rename yourself so that in case we are capturing attendance, we capture your attendance very well. Yes, Emily, can you speak? Emily, your microphone is not on.
Yes, so a computer has a RAM. The RAM is the working memory of a brain of.
Okay, what I picked that it has RAM, which acts as the working memory. Okay, thank you very much. We have Jaguar Timothy. Jaguar Timothy, can you speak to us? Turn on your microphone and then speak. Jaguar Timothy, can you turn on and speak? Jago is absent for today. Yes, Jago Timothy. Okay, he's absent. Julie Yvonne.
Yeah. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes. I can hear you. Okay, you are off. We have Julie Yvonne, can you speak? Julie is also not available. She's absent. Nakanwaji Justin.
Hello?
Hello. Yes, we have both.
There are those people like
Hello.
there are those that are turning. Yes, can you speak?
We have ports.
Yes, what do they do?
We use them to as a USB cables to insert the USB cables.
Okay, that's according to Justin. Okay, thanks for trying. We have Jaguar team is not available today. He didn't attend, he's not speaking to us. Yes, Yvonne, speak. I can see your hand is up as well. Julie Yvonne, can you speak? Your hand is up. And I mentioned your name before. She has disappeared instead. Okay. Tumuhire Anna, your hand has been up for long. Only that I've been skipping you deliberately.
Yes, sir. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Are you hearing me?
Loud and clear.
Thank you so much, sir. I wanted to mention mouse. I don't know whether they had mentioned it.
The mouse, what does it do? What does the mouse do?
It helps such users who doesn't know to use the mouse of the computer to help them alert them reach programs and every other.
To do what? Can you repeat? What does the mouse do?
It helps the users to how can I phrase it? It is used to move the cursor to the programs, whether editing, whether reaching out the programs you need in computer.
Okay, thank you very much. We have Kamulari, Justus. Justus, can you speak to us?
Yes, sir.
Yes, tell us.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, if we are on the components of the computer, I think we have the RAM, which is also known as the random access memory. It temporarily stores information.
Okay. It has already been mentioned, but thank you very much. Okay, we have Katebe Pius. Pius, can you speak to us?
Hello?
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud.
Sorry?
We can hear you, continue.
Components of a computer, I'll go for the output component, which could be a printer.
Okay.
Thank you. It can print out.
Okay, thank you very much. We have Lucky Joshua Latio. Lucky Joshua, can you speak to us? Lucky Joshua, can you speak to us?
Yeah, we also have the arithmetic logic unit.
Well, how does it look like? What does it do? Why is it found on the computer?
It's actually found, I think it's in the CPU. It's capable, it's responsible for carrying out arithmetic and calculations and comparison of data in a computer.
Okay, thank you. We have Nalukwago Farida. Farida, can you speak to us? Turn on your microphone first, it's not on, then speak to us. Farida is absent. Okay, let me note down that she's absent for today's class. Okay, we have Mugabe Michael. Mugabe, can you speak?
Yes, I can hear you, but unfortunately, I've joined the class a bit late. I don't know where I started from the answers I'm giving my colleagues here.
Okay. Now let me go to Ojok Bernard.
Equally, we are with Phil. We are with Phil, the DSP class. We have
You are
been
with
struggling
me?
to connect. Yes.
Okay, Navia Judith. Navia Judith. She's not around. Okay, she's speaking. Yes, can you tell us any of the components? Meanwhile, okay.
I know the output component, this is speaker, the speakers that use it to bring out sound.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your submissions, all those that have given some submissions. Meanwhile, I'm going to ask Anna to lower her hand. It is still up. To Muhiro, your hand is still up. Put it down. So we are moving on. We're looking at the categories of computers. You'll find that there are different. You'll find that computers can be categorized into different categories. Okay. For example, we have supercomputers, we have microcomputers, stroke personal computers, we have mobile computers, we have mid-range, we have mainframe computers, and so on. Macro computers, etc. So in other words, we can categorize them in different ways. Now, specifically, let's put our emphasis on personal computers. What is a personal computer? Let me first lower Anna's hand. I think she failed to put it down. Let me help her to lower it down so that it doesn't confuse me whether she's still wanting to speak to us or not. Meanwhile, I want the members to tell us, okay, she has put it down. Okay. What are personal computers? What is a personal computer? What do you know about it? Personal computers. Yes, I want to hear from the members. Usually my classes are like that. I expect more from the audience. Let me pick randomly and I will ask Katebe first of all to tell us what he thinks a personal computer is. Yes, Katebe.
A personal computer, I can easily understand as any computer device that is mobile or can be personalized.
Okay, thank you. Tamale, your hand is up. Can you speak to us?
Hello, a personal computer.
Yes.
Computer design.
Your volume is low.
It's a computer designed to be used by one person.
Okay, thank you very much. Just like he has put it, okay, can you lower your hand? So just like he has put it, when talking about a personal computer, a computer designed to be used by a single person at a time or a single user. When you look at, for example, your mobile phone, okay? When you are buying that mobile phone, you didn't look at maybe the entire clan or the entire family using it. Even when it's a home phone, okay, still one person uses it at a time. Just look at the desktop computers in the lab we have, okay? They are designed to be used by a single user at a time. Look at the laptops. You can't be two people typing on the laptop at the same time. One person can use at a time. So those computers are called personal computers, designed to be used by a single user at a time. Then sometimes we call these personal computers microcomputers. If you know some English, and if you could recall, if you were in class last week, I said that most of the terms we use in computing are borrowed terms. What does it mean? Most of the, if you know the English meaning, chances are high that you'll be able to tell what it does or what it means in terms of computing, in line with computing. So micro means what in English? It means small. So personal computers are the smallest type of computers, okay? Much as we have other types or categories, but you find that in terms of sizes, as we move on, find that most of the other types, all other types actually are bigger in size as compared to microcomputers, or call them personal computers. Now, let's look at the different types of personal computers. Can the members participate here? When you talk about personal computers, what are some of the types that you know of? Let me ask from the group randomly. I'm going to start with the, Samra has already put up her hand. Anna, yes, Anna. Anna, unmute and then speak to us.
Well, thank you so much, sir. Yes, please, sir. Hear me?
You are on and off.
Hello?
I can't get.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, better now.
Hello?
Your network, I think, has issues.
Yeah, when we talk about can you hear me now, sir?
Your network
Hello?
is breaking. I think let me first go to Eddie. Eddie's having his hand up. Maybe you can use the chat. Anna, you can use the chat. Anna, what you do, use the chat and type in your answer. I'll be able to see it. So meanwhile, Eddie, can you speak to us?
Yes, sir. I know a desktop.
Okay, thank you very much. Desktop computer. So Anna, please use the chat. I wasn't able to get you clearly.
Laptop.
Anna, yes, your hand is up again. Is your network better now?
Hello?
Yes. Can you speak?
Can you hear me? I'm speaking, sir.
You have issues with your network. It is not very clear. What you do, use the chat. Type in the chat. I'll be able to see your message.
Let me try it now. Okay.
Type using the chat. Yeah. Okay. Who else wants to say something about the types of personal computers? Again, Anna's put her hand up, but I've told her to use the chat. I want to hear from other members. Let me pick random, I think. Let me pick random. Let me ask who. Let me ask who. Thomas. Lugedela Thomas, can you speak to us? Okay, meanwhile, as I wait for other people to speak, let me read the chats. we kindly request to share a copy of the notes being followed here. Okay. Then, yes, some as mentioned, the laptop computer is one of the types of computers. That is Nabe Judith. Then Justin Nakano has mentioned the tablet. Then Benjamin has talked about the laptops and then tablets. Thank you very much, members that have used the chat. Yes. Tumuhimbis has talked about mobile phones. Then Ninalu Mariam has talked about iPad. Then Kamari has talked about workstation. Thank you very much, members that have participated using the chat. So keep the conversation going on and on. Then I'm coming, someone has talked about handheld devices. Then Mugabe has talked about calculator. Okay, so ETC. All these are, for example, we have got laptops, we have got the computer or smartphones, we have got desktops. Most of them, the terms come from the English meaning. For example, a desktop is a computer designed to be used on the desk or table, just like you can see what's on the screen right now. Okay, it is designed to be used on the desk or table. Then we have talked about laptops. They are designed to be used on the lap. In most cases, we use these devices while on the lap. Okay. Then we have so many others. Handheld computers such as tablets. Okay. These ones, most cases, they are used while in the palms. Of course, palm top is another kind of corner that is used while it's tiny compared to all other types we have talked about, and it's always carried in the palm. Then we have personal digital assistant, that is PDA. For example, look at those people who do meter reading. Okay, very tiny. Okay, they help them to automate office operations while they are in the field. Then we have, among others, okay. So there are other types of personal computers. So I will ask the members to investigate about them, read about each one of them, what it is and what it does. Now, I will ask you to read about these other types of computers. Remember, we began by talking about types of computers, okay? Then among, that's generally, okay? Then after talking about the types of computers, among the types talked about personal computers. Then under personal computers, we have discussed the types or categories of personal computers. Now, going back to the main topic of types of computers, I want the members to investigate about other types that we've not delved into, okay? For example, we have talked about mainframe, supercomputers, etc. So investigate about them. Someone is saying that some of us are new and we have been just admitted. Kindly share with us your notes on our emails if possible. Now, first of all, regarding the notes, those that are physically in the lab at the campus right now, there's that gentleman who sits at the back, is called Erasto. He always have these, he always has the notes. That's number one. Then when you go to the platform as well, on the Odell platform, the notes are there. I'm very sure that some people have already seen and accessed the notes. I think I've answered those queries from the chat. Moving on, categories, you can still read these ones. Then we are talking about hardware. When we talk about hardware, what is hardware first of all? What is computer hardware, members? Let me hear from you first. So far, two people have put up their hands. We have Infinix Hot 10i. Speak to us. Infinix Hot 10.
I think hardware components of a computer are the tangible parts of the computer.
Okay, thank you very much. Lucky Joshua, what's your view? Your hand is up. Lucky Joshua, your hand is up. Speak.
Same answer.
Same answer. Or can we adjust us? This same answer?
Almost the same. The hardware are the tangible components of a computer, the ones that we can touch and feel with our hands.
Okay, Benjamin has said the same. Then Philip also said the same using the chat. Now, just like you've said, the physical components that we're able to see, touch, and feel. Okay. For example, look at a monitor, look at a cable, look at a USB disk, look at anything. Okay. So all are tangible components. So anything you can touch and see. Okay, are the ones we are calling hardware components. Then within the chat, Navia Judith is saying that Brim 1 we didn't get previous notes. Even today is kindly share. The notes, first of all, are on the platform. When you go to Odell, you're able to access the notes. Then, so we have tried to list some of the examples of hardware components. And of course, the list is endless. Okay. The list is endless when you talk about hardware components. Yes, Sam is talking about that the lab is closed. The lab is closed because I told him I'm not going to teach physically. That's why there was no need for him to be around up to this time. Then also when you look at, if you are looking for notes, if you are to go online, you don't need to use the lab. You can even use your mobile phone or any other device that is having access to the internet to access the notes. So we have tried to explain each one of them. You can, of course, try out to investigate and read further about what these output components are and input components. Of course, input are the ones used to enter or to feed in information into the computer. We've given examples you can scan through, such as, for example, the light pen, talk about anything that we use to enter information, whereas output are used to get information out of the computer, such as the printer, such as the speaker, such as so many other components. Okay, and the others, I talked about the motherboard already at the beginning of the session. So this is a motherboard and it's showing us the different components inside the motherboard. Then among the components, we're talking about memory. Memory is used to store information. Okay, we have got different types of memory. For example, we have what we call main memory. Main memory is what we call RAM or random access memory in full. What is RAM? Let me first get its image in case people need to see. So when you open a computer, okay, you will find a component that looks like the one here where my cursor is. Okay, so without that component, without this component called RAM here, a computer will never work. Okay, why? Because it's the working memory. Okay, it is the working memory. What do we mean? Anything the computer is processing is stored temporarily, okay, in working memory. So in other words, what we can call a RAM, one, we can call it random access memory, we can call it main memory, we can call it working memory, we can call it temporary memory, we can call it volatile memory. Why temporary? Because information in memory, in RAM, is stored temporarily as long as there is constant power supply. After shutting down your computer, anything in RAM is totally lost because it doesn't store permanently. It only stores what is being worked out by the computer at that particular point in time. Then why is it called volatile again? It is also called volatile memory sometimes. Why? Because it doesn't store permanently. It only stores, and as long as there is constant power supply, once you lose, that's why it's always important to save your work regularly, especially when you are working with devices that don't have a power backup, such as a battery. So that is memory in terms of RAM. That is random access memory. Then we have read-only memory or ROM. Okay, ROM means that you can't add anything onto this memory. You can only read. For example, once you get, for example, we look at your TV. Okay. Sometimes when you are powering that TV or that decoder or that even your mobile phone, anything you can power on. In fact, sometimes it comes with some information. For example, if you are using Samsung, it will bring something to do with Samsung. It will bring some information about DSTV or something like that. That information, in fact, you can't change it. You can only read. Okay? Even when you buy some devices, such as a printer, it comes with a CD. That CD is having what we call drivers. Okay? In most cases, CDs that are bought with the component or with the gadget, since they're having drivers, they are in read-only form, whereby you can only open the contents of the CD, but you can't write there your own information. You can't add anything onto that CD. So any memory to which you can't add any information, you can't add any content, okay? Whereby you can only use the content, you can only read, you can only open. That's what we call read-only memory. Of course, there are other classifications such as tertiary memory and so on, but you can always read them in your free time and try to investigate what each one of the different memories is and what it means. Then somebody is asking if it's possible to be added on the platform. I don't know which platform you're talking about. There are so many platforms. If it is the WhatsApp platform for this course, unfortunately, I'm not on that platform. I've not been added by the group admin, and I'm very sure the group admin must be online right now. You can who is the group admin for the WhatsApp group you created? Is it the coordinator? I think it's the coordinator. Who is the coordinator? Can coordinator speak to us? Is it Ephraim? I think the coordinator is Ephraim Chanwood. So Ephraim, some people need to be added on your WhatsApp group. I think that's what I've picked. That's what that person must be meaning, okay? So please, Ephraim, use the chat to type your number so that those that need to be added are able to get in touch with you. Type your number in the chat right now. And those in need to get in touch with him, use the chat. After he drops his number, get in touch with him after the end of the lecture. So we can move on. We are talking about storage. We have what called storage media. That is storage where we store over the device that we used to save. Then there are different types or examples of storage you can think of, okay? Amongst the storage you can talk of, for example, we have what we call hard disks. We have floppy disks. For the floppy disk, I'm very sure, of course, even me personally have some with me home. If we were physical, we would be able to see in case you didn't know how it looks like. Okay, and fortunately, actually, it's fortunate that we don't have these disks in use anymore. Okay, why we don't have these disks in use is because a floppy disk has now become obsolete. It is out of use nowadays. Why? Because it is too small. Okay, it is too small. It cannot hold much information. In total, this is how it used to be. In case you never saw it, in case you never used this floppy disk. Okay, this is how it looks like physically. Just like what you can see on the screen right now, I guess it has already come. This is, these are examples, these are pictures of floppy disks. They could be different in colors, but the image is the same regardless of the color. This is one face and this is the other face. It has two faces, it has two sides, both the front face and the back face of a floppy disk. It had 1.44 MBs, not even 1.5 in size. It is called 3.5-inch disk. Okay, I think it's because of the size, the physical size. Then in terms of memory capacity, it is 1.44 MBs. So you can see, if you have one music track, we have those people called music called Kadongo Kamu. Okay, you find that you can put on, you can play a track, let's say from Kampala City up to where I am. I'm about 25 kilometers from Kampala. Okay, and you are playing the same song if you are driving at 120 kilometers per hour. Okay, you find that you get from where you are to the destination just one song playing. So meaning, given its space, it can't even accommodate one track. That's why nowadays it's now obsolete, and most of the devices we have nowadays may not necessarily even have the slot for a floppy disk. Of course, those ancient computers have, if you have to access such a computer, it had provision for connecting a floppy disk. But nowadays the devices that are on market, chances are high that they don't even have this slot or the drive for connecting the floppy disk. Moving on, I've talked about the hard disk. Okay, we have this hard disk in two forms. For example, where you are seeing my cursor here is a floppy disk that is used in, especially those ancient computers. Okay, it's an internal floppy disk for those ancient computers. Then we have the external hard disk. This one is connected from the outside. It is usually for backup purposes. So that in case, by the way, it's always important to back up your information so that in case the main source, that's your computer, gets a problem, maybe it has crashed, maybe there is a virus that has attacked, that has infected the device, you're able to have an alternative copy. So this is an external hard drive. Actually, let me go to the internet and try looking it out so that people are able to have a physical feel. So let's wait for it to come on the screen. Yes. So they are in different shapes. These ones are for the physical, for the desktop computers. These big ones you are seeing here. Okay. These are internal hard disks. The ones you are seeing, most of them are internal. Let me see if I will get external. Then laptops. Most laptops use, I think it is this size here you are seeing where my cursor is. This size is for the laptop is smaller than these ones you are seeing for the desktop. For the desktop, they are big in size, whereas since a laptop is small in size, its hard disk is also small. Then where my cursor is right now here, this is an external disk which you connect to the computer through the USB connection or USB interface. So I guess that by now we have a feel of how a physical hard disk looks like. Moving on, we have talked about hard disks. Now we have optical disks. Optical disks are round disks, okay? And can take any of the three forms, such as, for example, DVDs, such as CDs, such as Blu-ray discs. Now, let me ask the class again. What is the difference between a CD and a DVD? Can the members tell me? Either through the chat, I can read the message, or you can raise up your hand through the microphone. Who knows the difference between a floppy disk, between a CD and a DVD? I'm waiting for the members to tell me. Yes, I'm waiting for the members to tell me. A CD and a DVD. Ephraim has typed something in the chat. Let me check. Actually, he has already put his number as well. Those that were looking for his number, the number is also in the chat already. Yes, you have said that a CD has smaller capacity, while a DVD has a big capacity. So how much capacity does the CD have and how much does the DVD have? Let someone tell us. Maybe Ephraim can tell us as well. It is true a CD has less capacity compared to the DVD. Unfortunately, most of us have been just going to the shop to say that I want a CD or I want a DVD. You ask for the DVD and they just give you a CD and you're not bothered at all. Yes, Alan? Alan, your hand is up. Speak to us.
Yeah, I'm saying for a DVD, memory can be erased at any time. Sorry? I'm saying on a DVD, memory can be erased at any time and reused, but on CD, it can't.
Okay, that's according to him. Now I'm pausing a bit. I think there are some other students. Let me get back to you again. We can continue. So we were talking about the CD and the DVD. Now a CD has less capacity, okay? And its capacity is usually 700 MBs in total. Remember in lecture 1, we talked about data. We talked about units of measurement of data. From the smallest unit, that is a bit, talks about a byte, a kilobyte, and so on up to wherever we ended. So we're saying that a CD has 700 MBs in total. That's how much data can be on the CD. Whereas much as they're the same in shape and size, and most cases we have not been keen about it, but a DVD has more capacity, and in most cases it has 4.7 gigabytes. In other words, it has 4,700. It has 4.7 gigabytes. That is 4,700 MB. Okay. whereas the CD has only 700 MBs. So you can see, sometimes we've just been buying, the difference in prices is not so much, okay? But in terms of capacity, the difference is significantly much. How do you differentiate between the two? They are always labeled, okay? Just like what you are seeing on the screen right now, it's reading DVD, it's even labeled, okay? And in most cases, even the type, the manufacturer, you will be able to see who manufactured this CD in case you are specific on a specific brand, okay? In most cases, this information is always available on the DVD as well as the CD. You will be able to see whether it's a CD or DVD. Then the same applies to the capacity. In most cases, its capacity, just like when you look at this one here where my cursor is, okay? The capacity is always shown. So they are telling me that this DVD is 4.7 over, and it's not only this one, most of them, okay, if not all, are 4.7 GB. And it can play if you put something in form of audio, it can play for up to 120 minutes. And in this case, the manufacturer for this DVD is Sony. So all the information is always shown on the disc. So these are the types of optical discs we have talked about, that is CD, DVD, and Blu-ray. The difference in most cases, the main difference is in terms of capacity. How much capacity it can carry, how much data can be put on this disc. Then, how do you tell that this DVD or CD is either empty or it has some information on it? So I wanted to investigate how you can know and tell that this DVD or CD is either empty or not. For example, if I may ask, actually let me ask the class whether, let me get a disk and ask them whether it is empty or not. For example, we have this one here where my cursor is. Is it empty? You can tell me whether it's empty or not. This one here. I don't know if somebody can answer that. Anyway, you can investigate it and give me feedback maybe next time when we meet. Whether the seed I showed you whether the seed I showed you today is empty or not. Moving on. We have other disks such as these memory sticks, which are too small. In most cases, they are used in portable devices such as mobile phones, such as cameras, and so many other small portable devices. Then we talked about the types of computers. I think you don't need to waste a lot of time on this. Then, having talked about the hardware components, let's also talk about the software. What software is. I will start, of course, with the class to ask them what they know about software. Yes, what is software, class? Yes, Infinix Hot 10.
I think software are the instructions.
Listen.
So, hello?
Listen. First, listen to me.
I'm listening.
It is good to have your microphone close. However, when you put your microphone on the mouth, you'll be breathing into it.
I get.
Lower it a little down so that we're able to get you clearly.
I was still telling you
that tell me now.
Software are instructions set for a computer to guide it on how to operate.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, Lucky Joshua has said through the chat that software, let me read it verbatim, that according to Lucky Joshua, is a set of election instructions that give the operations of a computer system. Okay, I said electronic set of electronic instructions that give the operations of the computer system. Now that's according to him. Okay, I want to hear from other members as well. In case there are other members that want to tell us, you can either use the chat or you can raise up your hand. I guess you know how to raise up your hand through Zoom. So, when God was creating man, okay, God created man in two forms. I guess I have some believers online, okay? Even yourself, when you look at yourself, if you're a believer, you are in two forms. Do I have some believers online, members? If you're a believer, raise up your hand and speak to me. I want to ask something.
Yes, we are believers.
Who is a believer? You mention your name.
Emily Nachimera.
Emily Nachimera. Okay, you are a believer. In which form are you?
Human and also spiritual.
Spiritual. Okay, that's according to Emily. Thank you. I think even those others have put down, have lowered their hands. I was going to ask them some questions. Lucky Joshua, tell me the forms in which you are. I think he has disappeared.
I'm not sure how to answer that question, sir.
You want to answer the question, eh?
I'm not sure how to answer that question.
Okay. Now you find that, for example, God created man in both the hardware form and the software. Okay. That's both the body and the soul. Some of you, for example, today morning before coming to class, even yesterday and the other day, all the week, the entire week, this ending week, some of you have been fornicating. Breakfast, lunch, and supper. Okay? So you find that some of you, when you die, you will die both spiritually and physically. Okay? The body will perish and the soul will perish. Okay? Why? Because of your sinful nature. Now, so just like the human body is in two forms, the body and the soul, the human being is in two forms, the body and the soul. And remember, man created a computer to simplify his work, so that the work that's supposed to be done by man is done by a computer. So similarly, the man created this computer in two forms. That is the body and the soul, not the spirit. Okay? Spirit is divine. Man is not divine. Okay? Spirit is part of the Trinity. We aren't part of the Trinity. So the soul is what we call the engine that determines the destination of man. Okay, that's the soul. Okay? The physical man is just driven. Okay? Doesn't know much as it is more visible. Okay? And more recognized by man. And man responds much to the desires of the body. So similarly, the conda has two forms, that's the body and the soul. And the body is what we call the hardware. We talked about hardware already. Now we're talking about software. When we are defining software, ladies and gentlemen, we can't see software, just like we can't see the soul of man. Okay, so software are the intangible components. Software is intangible. You can't touch software. You can't see software. You can't feel software. You can see the hardware, you can touch it, you can feel it. The way you people who are married, plus those that are not married but fornicate, sometimes you go, for example, in the dark corners and start touching each other, what we call body touching or soft touching. Okay? And you said that you are feeling each other. You are getting me? Mumwe feeling. So you can touch the body. You can feel that this is the breast, the way always people do in dark corners. You touch somebody else's breasts like as if they belong to you. Okay? So you can even feel that these are lips, isn't it? Yes, you feel them, you start chewing them. So similar, that is hardware. Whereas with the software, you can't touch software. You can't feel that for example, I have this CD, it is having software. Okay, it is intangible. You can't see it. Okay, but it matters much. It will determine what the computer is going to do. Hardware is just plastic and metal. Okay, when you look at whichever gadget you are using, with hardware is just plastic and metal. Okay, whereas with the software, matters is not visible, but it does all what the computer is doing. You are getting me? That is hardware. That is software. Okay? So okay. So in other words, it is a set of instructions that direct the computer's processor on the tasks that are being executed. In simple terms, okay? Mike has said that he's going to use that example, which is very okay. Okay, so that is software, machine readable instructions that directs the hardware on what to do. Okay, what to do. So any software you install, actually you are installing the programs. So in other words, if I don't call it instructions, software are the programs as well, or what we call, I will not specifically call them apps, okay? Because apps are another type of software. But in other words, software are the programs, if not programs, are the instructions that direct what the computer does and how to do it. Now, under software, we have got two main types of software. Much as there are others, okay? But we have two main types of software. We have what we call system software, or call it the platform, okay? And then application software. The system software, sometimes call it the operating system, okay? If I say system software, I'm referring to the operating system, okay? And the reverse is true, okay? What is this system software? I've just said that it is the engine, or it is the platform upon which the computer operates. I will start by asking the members to tell me the examples of system software. Yes, you can either use the chat or raise up your hand and speak to us. examples of system software.
Word.
Remember, I've just said that someone has talked about Word. I don't know if it is amongst them. Let me use some people have already typed in the chat. Yes, Mugabe has talked about Windows 11. Okay. Then another has talked about, I think it's the same person who has mentioned the Ubuntu. Very good. Then Joshua's example he has mentioned. Remember, I've just said that system software is what we system software is the operating system, meaning I can either call it the operating system or system software. Now I'm asking examples of operating system. What are some of the examples of operating system? Yes, Nebi has talked about Android. It is an operating system. Very good. I'm waiting for other answers. Nebi has talked about Android. Your mobile phone, we remember we said a mobile phone is a computer, especially a smartphone. And all phones have an operating system. There is no phone that can work without an operating system. Oh, somebody has mentioned Linux, very good. But Dell is not amongst Dell. Dell is not amongst them. Okay. Now we can mention, let's mention them. Windows. Now, somebody has talked about Windows 11. Okay. Another has talked about Linux and Ubuntu. Windows is a family, just Linux is. Okay. Within Windows, Windows is a product that is made by Microsoft Corporation as the company that is owned by Bill Gates. Okay. Bill Gates has a company called Microsoft Corporation, and this company makes so many products. Amongst the products is Windows. Windows is an operating system made by Microsoft Corporation. Then within Windows family, there are different products. Okay? Such as somebody has talked about Windows 11. Then we have Windows 11 and the Windows family. Again, we find that people give different flavors or versions of Windows, such as Windows 11, which is the latest and the newest product, such as Windows 10, as the one that we've been using for the last, I think, about 8 years. Then we have Windows, before Windows 10 came, we had Windows 8.1. Then before Windows 8.1, we had Windows 8. Then before Windows 8, we had Windows Vista. Then before Windows Vista came, we had Windows 7. Then before Windows 7 came, we had Windows XP and so many others before. Okay, now the question is, why do we have all these versions of the same product coming on the market? Who can answer that question? Microsoft has made Windows operating system, and it has made it in different versions. Okay, so why has it been making and why is it still making? Meaning after Windows 11, now it's the newest. It is very new. It was launched, I think, this year. But time will come, it will be no more. We have Infinix Hot 11. You have something to say, you can say it. Infinix, you can speak. Meanwhile, as Infinix is speaking, we have Justin Nakanwaji saying that to upgrade on the system. Then the same applies to Michael. Now, what happens is that actually when I was doing, I think it was either Kamas human wants? Is it commerce, economics? My teacher told me that human wants are insatiable. Human beings don't get contented. However good you will be, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend or a wife at home or husband, you will never satisfy her in all ways, financially, morally, sexually, any way you want to satisfy a human being, you'll never be successful. Okay? You waste your sweat and energy the whole night. She'll end up not being satisfied and she'll cheat on you. Okay? So human needs are insatiable. In 2000, ladies and gentlemen, we had, that's when, starting from late 1990s, around 1998, 1999, Uganda saw its mobile phones, first mobile phones on the market. When those telecom companies came into play, that is MTN and Celtel, and not Mango, UTL by then. Okay? Now, look at the phones we had by then. We had Ericsson 33, is it Ericsson what? Nokia 3310, Ericsson I think 311. We had some mobile phones on market. They were so expensive, okay? But the features those mobile phones had were not the features we have nowadays. They keep inventing or thinking of new components that they want to put on the devices, okay? Meaning, time comes when, for example, Nokia 3310 is no more. However much you want it, however good it was, it can no longer be able to do what we want to use our mobile phones for. Previously, I remember when I was a student during those days, you'd have to buy a watch, to buy a calculator separately, you'd have to buy a, what else? A radio, an alarm clock to wake you up in case you want to do winter. You had to buy, for example, you had to buy also a computer separately for other businesses in form of a desktop. And in case you wanted internet, you had to buy a modem. So in other words, you had to buy so many gadgets, spending too much money. Nowadays, I have my mobile phone and it's enough to do everything I need it to do. Okay. Similarly, with the software, you find that they are inventing more features. Okay. They keep identifying new requirements. That's why we always have updates. For example, Windows always find that there are new updates coming almost on a daily basis, meaning they are trying to fix some problem that they feel this system should be able to do. Okay? That's why even before coming with Windows 11, for example, Windows 10 we have always been updating almost on a regular basis. Software developers keep offering support. So time will come when they can support it no more and retire it. End of life. For example, Windows XP was put to the end of life. Windows 7 also put to rest. I think not so. I think it's just recently, like I think a year or two ago, is when Windows 7 was put to end of life. Time will come, Windows 10 will also push to end of life. Meaning it can, just like when you have a trouser, you'll keep making patches and making patches. Time will come when you can repair no more and you have to put it to rest, to bury it. Okay? That's where the same applies to Linux. Under Linux, we have different flavors. Then within those flavors, we have different releases or versions of a certain flavor. For example, Ubuntu, if I had to have Ubuntu, maybe Ubuntu 5, Ubuntu 6, Ubuntu 7, Ubuntu 8, Ubuntu. Nowadays, I don't know which version we are on currently. Okay. Then I have exhausted, I think, system software. We have given examples of manufacturers, such as, for example, I've talked about Microsoft MS, Microsoft Windows. Okay. We have Macintosh. We have Linux. We have Unix. We have Solaris. Some mentioned Android. We have iOS. We have Java. Those community phones, I think some of them use Java. We have so many others, okay, you can think of. Then moving on, I think we're about to come to an end. Sometimes people have limited data. So what does system software do? System software is the most important software. You can't have a device without system software, but you can have it without application software. So system software controls, manages, directs, coordinates all the operations of the computer and creates or provides the interface between the computer and the user. That is system software. It coordinates everything that the computer wants to do, or that you want to do on the computer, and manages all operations. Now, if you're asked what are the functions of the operating system, it manages operations, it controls operations, it supervises, it creates or provides an interface between the user and the computer. It's another function, okay? So we have listed them: to control hardware and connections to the computer, to provide interface, to ensure that the system is working properly. It provides the working, okay, the graphic. Now, we have got two types of user interface. We have what we call graphical user interface and then command line interface. Of course, there are three, but our emphasis and interest is in it too. So graphical user interface, the one that we always use the most, whereby you just point on graphics and pictures. Just like, for example, if you want to navigate to the next slide, I'll just look at this picture here and click, okay? Whereas with command line interface, ladies and gentlemen, is why we don't use the mouse, okay? We only use commands. That was the first interface when computers just came, whereby we were using commands in whichever we were doing. Of course, it's so hard, whereby you have to first know all the commands. You must be having the command of the task that you want to execute, which is so hard for us to know. Whereas with just graphical user interface, you just look at something, point at it, you'll just be seeing miracles happening on the computer, okay? Whereas with the other one, you will not see miracles happening. Everything you must be knowing it by yourself to be able to execute it. So this is how command line interface looks like. Whichever I want to execute, I have to write a command, okay? For example, I'm telling it to do something here. That's the command I have to type. Once I press enter, I'll get the output or the feedback from the computer. Moving on, we have looked at what system software is. I think I'll stop at system software. So if you have Windows, for example, installed without installing any other software, you'll find so many applications, so many utilities, such as, for example, I can have a calculator, I can open a browser and surf the internet. I can open some, it comes with some apps such as word processors, such as text editors, so many components by just installing the operating system. So it gives you the interface on which you can install the applications. But without it, you can't install anything on the computer. You can't do anything on the computer. So I think starting next week, we shall start with application software. We're ending here for today. I'll ask the members in case they have questions to raise them or anything that they want to say in regard to today's lecture. So I'll get the recording and post it. I will send it to Ephraim. So Ephraim, you all that need today's recording, lectures for today's recording for today's lecture, you'll get the recording from Ephraim. I'll upload the recording on YouTube and then share the link with him. So in case you are saying anything, among the reasons I'm stopping right now is that it is raining and you may not be able to hear me clearly. So let's start from there next week. In case you want to continue with the class, maybe to discuss amongst yourselves, I'm just going to leave the session on, and I'm assigning the coordinator to be the host as I sign out. Goodbye.